Hey everyone, Adam from CallCast here. I wanted to give you a quick demo on how I do my podcast editing. I've been recording a podcast with a new person every day of the year, so I need to have a really fast, easy workflow for my editing, and I keep it very simple. But I wanted to show you the 4 tools that make podcast editing super simple. So if you know these 4 tools in CallCast, you can do a quick editing and publishing of your podcast. So I'm going to go over to the library section here and jump into the edit mode. So once this edit loads, what you do is you scroll using this timeline here. And so I'm going to find right about where that podcast starts, which is right here. I'm going to highlight that audio and I'm going to slice it. So there we go with the slice. And then this is the beginning section. I'm going to highlight the beginning where we were just kind of chatting, and I'm just going to remove that beginning section. So now I'm only keeping the audio where the podcast starts, which is right here. So now we have a bunch of dead time and then the podcast starts. So what I'm actually going to do is add track, import audio, and this goes into my Dropbox account, where I have saved an audio file that I call my intro. So it's this intro here, and I'm just going to tap to add it. And that will add a new track with my intro. So now again, I'm going to scroll using this timeline, put the red line right there. So now the red line shows where I want to move this audio to. So I highlight the audio, and then this move tool right next to the slice tool, the move tool will jump the audio that I've highlighted to wherever that red line is. So what I'm able to do is do this jump move, and so now that audio track has just jumped all the way to there, and just like that I have an intro. I've deleted a section. I then moved my audio down the track, and I'm just going to hit save. And then what I'm going to do, let me get the name, type out the name. So this is saving. While it's saving, it is locked, so you cannot do edits while the app is still saving your podcast. But while it's saving, I'm going to use these 3 dots here and just rename this podcast. So there we go. Fear is a God. Update the name. Close out. And it's still saving. I'm going to pull down to refresh. And I will get a message once this has completed its save. Should be any second here. There we go. So it took a little time, but it's saved. And now let's get this published. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, I'm going to add Josh's photo. So that's Josh's photo. That's going to become my episode artwork. It's asking me if I want to add text layer, so I could write more text on this, which I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to tap here and add episode info, which is going to be a little description of our podcast. And it is iTunes Season 1. It's the full episode. It's my number 311th podcast of the year. Subtitle, I just make it the same thing that I already typed above, so it auto fills it out. It's me as the author. I just do explicit in case any kind of language was used. I don't want to have to filter anything out, so I just do explicit. And show on iTunes, yes. Apple Podcast, yes. So I'm going to hit publish. And then it's going to ask me if I would like to flatten the tracks. So I'm going to say yes, because that helps save space on my phone. It just kind of merges everything down. And that podcast has now been published. Very cool. So I'm also going to show you the desktop page where all your podcasts go. So you can see after you publish, you can come here to your desktop. Your listeners can find all your published audio here. and every audio you publish and gets synced up with Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast players get sent right to this page. Plus, you can ask your users to send you voice messages. So if you had voice messages that you want your users to send you, you can click here, record messages, start recording. You can record up to a minute of podcast. So these voice messages will show up right in the iPhone app, and you can then add all these voice messages into other podcast recordings. So it's a great way to interact with your audience and quickly, easy get feedback from your audience members as they listen to your podcasts. So there's also embeddable, so you can embed your audio here. If you have a website, you can click this little link and add it over to your personal website to display your audio player on your personal website. So there's a lot of cool features here. We'd love for you to come check them out. And if you have any questions, message us on callcast.co. Also, in closing, I'd like to show you back on the CallCast website, callcast.co. If you go to Learn Workshops, I have a bunch of workshops here that we offer to help you get started recording your podcast, artwork, the lightweight editing tools that I just showed you, intro and outros, publishing your podcast, setting up your landing page, your voice messages, and sharing your podcast, and finding and inviting guests. So if any of those topics sound interesting, head over to the CallCast site, sign up for any of these free workshops, and we'll do a short Zoom call where I can help get you started podcasting.